Welcome to Reflections of a Savage, everybody. My name is Brett, and I am so excited to finally be putting this together. The only thing really getting in between me putting together this podcast and sharing all of my deepest, darkest personal feelings into a microphone and actually getting the microphone to do it has been money, because I'm a broke bitch. But I finally got the money to do this, and I'm so excited. So here's Reflections of a Savage. Before I get into the episode, since this is the first one, I want to just kind of give a little preface as to what is Reflections of a Savage. So I will be talking about a lot of different topics, from mental illness to sexuality, society, different kinds of commentary. And the thing is that as I talk about it, it's coming from the perspective of somebody who is gay, somebody who is Jewish, somebody who is a vegan, but somebody who isn't tied down to the perspectives of each community and each identity. I want this to be my personal reflections that have nothing to do with a set of ideas that are set for me because I have something in common with somebody else that becomes a community of something. Because at the end of the day, I believe in individuality, and I believe that we are all individuals and we have the right to speak our own minds and speak our own truths. So the whole savage part comes in because I've been called a savage before because I speak my mind. You know, anybody who ever says you can't say this, you can't be this way, it's not okay to do this, it's not okay to do that. If it compromises me and who I am as a person, I just say go fuck yourself, and I do it anyways. So it all ties in together that, yeah, this is truly Reflections of a Savage. I will be speaking my mind, and it might make you laugh, it might make you cry, it might make you cringe, but overall I hope it's a new taste that won't take a long time for you to acquire and that you can acquire instantly. And I'm going to stop rambling now, because when I get nervous, I ramble, and this is my first episode and I'm so excited and I don't want to just keep talking and messing it up. So anyways, this is episode number 1, addressing toxic masculinity. Who should grow a pair? Now, I really wanted to address a subject that's been really heavy on my heart for a long time. And it's really toxic masculinity and femme-shaming in the gay community. And within my own environment, for being feminine, being gay is never a problem anymore as long as you're straight acting. You know, it's like, it's okay to be gay if you act like a quote-unquote man, but it's not okay to be feminine. And given that I don't ever want to change who I am, it still hurts me. And that's why I really want to talk about it, because I feel that starting this podcast is a good outlet to speak my feelings and my thoughts. Maybe somebody out there can say, same, me too. I can so fucking relate, I just never say these things. So I like to start everything off with a story. This is what I want to do. And it's going to relate to the subject that I talk about. So in this case, you know, once again, toxic masculinity and all that good stuff. So, you know, gather around, grab your joint, light your incense stick. If that's not your thing, light up that candle and draw that bubble bath and get ready for this story, because it's long and juicy. So I call this the bulldog from Tinder. Now, about a year ago, I was talking to this guy on Tinder, and we were having a really good conversation. You know, it was fun. You know, it was, we had a lot, we actually had a lot in common, which was pretty cool. And really overall for me, it was having a guy like me and approve of me, because a lot of the times that doesn't really happen. And it felt nice. It felt nice to speak to somebody who thought I was cute and sexy and was interested in me. Not that it never happens, but, it feels good when it continues beyond just small talk. So we're talking, and everything's good until he asks me a question. And I know what you're thinking by question. What is your dick size? What is your sex position? Are you top or bottom? What do you like in bed? What are your kinks? What are your fears? This and that. But the real question was, are you feminine or masculine? Followed by, because I only like masculine guys. I don't like feminine guys. Now, I answered the question as best as I could without saying I don't give a fuck. But basically I said I don't give a fuck. And that's how I live my life. And so it followed with, okay, yeah, just as long as you're not feminine, just because we're gay doesn't mean we have to act like girls and blah, blah, blah. And it, I just rolled my eyes and went along with it because I'm a people pleaser. I'm scared of being alone. And I like talking to this guy. But then, he asked me a better question. What are your aspirations? And I said, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter because I do have a background in music. I graduated from Berklee College of Music. I was on American Idol. I made the top 24 in season 10. This was years ago, but, long story short, I sent him my music and he really liked it and then wanted to add me on Snapchat. And that's when my heart fell out of my asshole. Because in the past, when I've spoken to guys, they've just blown me off after hearing my speaking voice. And I don't mean to sound like I'm victimizing myself or making it dramatic, but it's the truth. It's the matter of fact. Like, I've been rejected for sounding like a girl. So I didn't want this to happen. I didn't want to throw away a good time of conversation for a few days period over, him hearing my voice. I'd rather him meet me in person and then hear me. But once again, being the people pleaser, I was like, yeah, okay, no problem. So we add each other on Snapchat. Then he wants a video of me talking. And then my heart fell out of my asshole, rolled on the ground, and fell into the sewer. And I never found it again for that moment because I didn't want him to hear me talk. Get the fuck out of here, I don't want to deal with this again where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're a little feminine, sorry. I didn't want to fucking deal with that. I'd rather, him invite me to his house in Fort Lauderdale. I come up, he has this whole impression of something, and then he hears me talk, and I'm like, well, I came 30 minutes down here, so you're gonna fucking deal with me as I am, motherfucker. It would have been better that way. But anyways, so I send him a video of me talking, and I didn't think it would be that big of a deal because he heard me sing, and when I sing, I have a high voice, so I didn't think it would make a difference. I told him a story about how one time I called up the vitamin store and I was looking for a vegan vitamin D, and the guy kept telling me about different vitamins, and by the third women's multivitamin, I told him, I have a ball sack, right? Because he thought I was a girl. So, me and the guy on the phone laughed it out, and that was funny. And this was a cool story to tell this guy because it's like, okay, I'll turn my insecurities about my speaking voice into humor. Anyways, I sent him a video of me talking and telling that story, and then 5 minutes later, he says, I don't want to lead you on. It's just that you're really feminine, and I really like guys that are way more masculine. Sorry. In my head, I was like, motherfucker, if we would have met, I would have bagged your head, and you would have fucked me with a brown bag because I just really like approval, Wasn't really into you, you're a butterface. That's what I thought. But I didn't say that because I'm not an asshole. I would never say something like that to somebody. But I responded by saying, you hear my speaking voice and you assume one thing about me and you don't know me as a person, which is kind of disappointing. And all he said was, it is what it is, sorry. And that was fine. It didn't feel like a loss because of this guy as a person. It felt like another brick in the wall when it comes to, what I'm going to get into now, toxic masculinity and how it's really infected the gay community like herpes. I'm just being honest, I didn't think it was a thing, but after having been turned down for my speaking voice alone, and then being able to share this experience with other guys who are feminine and more flaming than I am, who go through it, you realize it's a thing. You realize it's a fucking problem when you go on a dating app like Grindr. I'm sorry, a fucking meat market app like Grindr, and nearly 75% of the profiles, all of the titles out of that 75% will always say something along the lines of man looking for a man, mask looking for mask. And then the biographies will be like, I'm a masculine man looking for the same. I'm a man looking for another guy who's a man, not a girl. Just because we are gay doesn't mean we have to act like girls. One time this fucking motherfucker, he messaged me, and I checked out his profile, and it said, why can't we be bros in the streets and fags in the sheets? It shouldn't be that hard. And that fucking pissed me the fuck off. You know, because now, okay, it's come down to this like internalized homophobia in the sense that guys like this think that being masculine is going to salvate them in the eyes of society, and that putting down other guys for being feminine is going to make them better as a gay person, whether in the closet or bisexual or whatever it may be. But I'm sorry to break it to you. At the end of the day, in the eyes of the church, the synagogue, the mosque, the fucking society that has always discriminated against gay people, if you're a man who fucking takes it up the ass, then you are just as much of a fag as me with the feminine voice and the feminine persona. You know? If you're a man who fucking sucks big fat cock and swallows, guess what? You are just as much of a fag as the man who does drag and wears high heels in the streets. You know, because at the end of the day, if hell's a real place and all those fucking crazy Bible-thumping evangelicals were right, which I really hope they're not, guess what? We're going to burn in hell together, buddy. So get the fuck over yourself. That's really all I have to say about that, you know? Like, it really is kind of sad how, in general, you know, when it comes to masculinity, it's not just within the gay community, but in the world in general, like, it's okay to be gay as long as you don't show your gayness. Like, when I came out of the closet, I was told by people in my life, I don't mind you being gay, I mind you acting like a woman, when being feminine has always been a part of me. You know? It's like when lesbians are told, I only like feminine, pretty lesbians, I don't like butch lesbians. You know, it's like, we're told we're not good enough because we don't fit these standards and these norms, and it's gotta fucking stop. I mean, I'm sick and fucking tired of being told to man up. Like, what the fuck does that even mean, man up? I don't fucking get it, man up. Like, are my dick and my balls not good enough? Because the last time I fucking checked, they're attached to my body, okay? And I still identify as a guy, you know, I'm not taking hormones, I'm not transitioning, so I'm still a man, regardless. So what the fuck does man up even mean? Because you know what? If being a man is all about bravery, then how about half these men, you know, who tell me to man up, try and struggle with a fucking eating disorder and then be brave enough to get treatment and then brave enough to be open about it and advocate for other people suffering from the same thing because nobody is ever open about that. Try being brave in that matter and then telling me to man up. Okay? Because I'd rather be able to bench press 1,000 pounds of my emotion than weights in the gym. So I could just brag about my big muscles and my excessive amount of masculinity to prove that I'm a man. Well, deep down, the toughest thing you can do is overcome your obstacles and your emotions and deal with it like a fucking person, you know? At the end of the day, masculinity, it's not toxic. There's a difference between toxic masculinity and masculinity. Just like toxic femininity and femininity. These words are just like fucking tongue twisters, but you get the point. We need those two energies in our life, and everybody has a balance of that. You know, we're all yin and yang. It just depends on how balanced we are. At the same time, the expectations placed on other people to be masculine or feminine is what the fucking toxicity is. Telling somebody that they should only act like a man if they're gay or act like a lady if they're a lesbian is a fucking problem. I was told by someone close to me one time that if they were a gay guy, they wouldn't date me because I'm more like a woman and guys only want to date guys. Well, I still see myself as a guy. That really fucking hurt me. And I'm not trying to sound like I'm victimizing myself, but this is what it is. And this is my experience, at least. These are my feelings. I'm not saying every single guy is like this. I'm not pointing my fingers at men in general, but I'm pointing my finger at the problem and the ones who perpetuate the problem. At the end of the day, my true question is this. If we all talk about growing a pair, like growing a pair of balls, because balls are bravery and vaginas are weak, even though if we get hit in the balls, we fall to the ground, and vaginas can push out watermelons with no epidural. But anyways, if the whole thing is grow a pair, who is the one that should grow a pair? Is it the man that dares to be himself regardless, whether he wants to cut hair, do makeup, be an entertainer, be a sports player, be anything, and be okay with himself and be okay with other people? Or is it the man that hides behind the cloak of masculinity because they're so ashamed of their own inner vagina that's gaping wide? That they have to put other guys down. Because honestly, I personally see myself and all the other feminine gay men out there as having balls the size of bowling balls that we kick every day because our balls are that big compared to half these men that carry fucking marbles in their scrotum, and that's how I fucking feel. Being yourself authentically is the most bravest thing you can do in life. And if being a man is about bravery, then that's what being a man is, or a guy, or a dude, or whatever the fuck it may be. So, really, who should grow a pair here? Honestly, who the fuck should grow a pair? And I'm going to end with that question. Now, I want the takeaway from this episode not to be like, this is bad or that's bad, because really I'm just ranting and venting my feelings. But once again, I'm not pointing my fingers at men as a whole, but I'm pointing my fingers at the perpetrators that make this problem a big problem in society. And this is something we really have to work on and talk about, because this affects a lot of people. And, at the end of the day, I want to live in a world where everyone can be whoever the fuck they want to be and love whoever the fuck they want with no shame, and not put other people down because of their own shame. And I want to live in a world where I can feel comfortable with my speaking voice and comfortable with myself as a feminine guy. And I know that starts with me, and I'm a work in progress. But I would love to live in a world where that fear wouldn't even have to exist. Would love to live in a world where a girl can walk out of the house with hairy legs and no makeup and still be considered a lady and not called a fucking man by other people because she's not feminine. Overall, I just want to live in a world where we all don't give a fuck, and we all have a fuck it attitude, and we all act like savages. We speak our minds, we don't give a shit about anything, and we just be ourselves and live to our fucking standards and our aspirations and what is good for us. So, I really thank you for listening to this very first episode. I'm really, really happy that I was able to do this. And my goal is to release an episode every Tuesday so that at the end of each episode I could say, see you next Tuesday. Well, that was actually part of it, but my goal, my personal goal is to release an episode every week. So I will be doing that. And you can catch all of my episodes and my blog posts at reflectionsofasavage.com. I am also on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Android, Google, a lot of different podcast platforms. And you can also find me on Instagram and Twitter at It's Me Brett L, E-L-L-E. And all the links will be on my sites. And please, if you can, I would so appreciate a review, whether you liked it, you hated it, whether it was like a go fuck yourself, Brett, stop fucking talking, or wow, Brett, you're fucking amazing. Any kind of review would be great, because I want my voice to be heard, and I want other people to know that the way they think and the way they feel, they're not alone. So help me do that, because if you leave a review, it helps my podcast grow. And with that said, I don't know how else to end this, because I'm really awkward. The whole thing, I was nervous through the whole thing. My dog is sleeping next to my butt. She jumped into the chair and squished me. Basically, I'm almost off the chair and I'm rambling because I'm nervous. So I'm going to get going. Until then, I will see you next Tuesday. And thank you once again. Now go on and grab the world by the pussy, the balls, whatever genitalia you may have, the bullhorns. Just grab the world by whatever the fuck it may be and live that fucking life you want to live, motherfuckers. Until next time, bye.